I'll remember 9/11 very vividly, almost like it happened yesterday. What I remember, if you're talking about like the events of my experience in 9/11, was I was on my way to college, had a college class. Kind of on the way, there was some talk on the radio, but people weren't sure. There was something about a plane crashing into the trade center, but they weren't really sure kind of what was going on. So that's how it played out to the time I got to class. Oh, let's see. That was in 2001, and this is 2016, so about 37. Said earlier that there was some talk on the radio coming into work. Some people were chatting on the way to class and during class about something was going on. I think part of the way through class, the teacher actually told us that there had been a terrorist attack on the trade centers, and that's kind of how I found out. Surprise, mainly. I think as a country we thought we were pretty much immune from anything happening on our own soil. So, of course, there was confusion. We weren't really sure what was going on, and surprise and anger. A lot of different emotions, especially as the day went on and we found out more details. Most vivid memory was actually how the professor kind of handled the class, and a lot of people were wanting to leave and run out and go check. They thought that the country was under attack and anything could be happening in Chattanooga and forces were coming over. So the teacher was very professional and kind of getting rid of the fears we had at the moment and keeping us all kind of focused and not kind of going kind of crazy, I guess. A lot of people were angry, of course, and surprised. It was very reflective of how most people had felt that day in class. There was a lot of sadness and wanting revenge and wanting to find out what happened. I guess every emotion you could possibly kind of think of in reaction was thrown in there the first few days. I think 9/11 has changed me and the country in kind of the same way as I mentioned earlier. At that time, America was untouchable and we were totally safe and nothing could harm us. But since then, America has learned to be much more on point, to be aware of what's going on, and even individuals, including myself, have to, on a daily basis, be aware of looking for kind of things that could be going on. As things have happened in Chattanooga since then, everyone kind of has to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings. Terrorism in itself can never be defeated because there's always going to be someone who wants to make their point through violence. It can be fought, however. Just because something exists, we could compare it with slavery or prejudice or racism or sexism or anything like that. Just because it exists doesn't mean we just give up fighting it. I think it's humans and a human race that kind of defines us as individuals and people of how we react to bad situations. Do we just kind of give up and let things happen? Do we stand up? Do we fight? And I think it's always best to stand up to all those things that we think will never kind of go away. A lot of conspiracy theories, but I just don't believe that's possible. If, for example, the government wanted us to go back to Iraq, there were a lot easier ways of doing that than killing a lot of innocent people and trying to destroy, the Pentagon and things like that. So I don't really think the government had anything directly to do. Of course, policies that we've enacted through the years may have ticked some people off and caused them to want to do that, but directly us doing it, no. Um, hmm. It's kind of reinforced the ideas that America is the greatest place to live. We came together as a group, as a people, and all the other terrorist activities that have affected us over the last few years always brings us closer together. We can look at Boston or Chattanooga. So to me, what it makes me kind of think about views of America is how strong we are when things get really difficult and we're threatened as a country, how we can come together and help ourselves and other people. No, maybe that just to reiterate, go back over the point of just because there's bad things going on doesn't mean we just give up and let them happen. We may never defeat terrorism totally, but fighting that fight against it is kind of what defines us as a people.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.